My name is Cenk Esen. I'm a pianist, composer, and producer. I've been living in London the last couple of years since graduating from Berklee College of Music. Mostly been doing live shows and also been doing a lot of production of my own tracks and fellow other artists and friends. I also released my first ever album last year called It's a Family Thing. It's available on all streaming platforms and all those good places. This is actually an unreleased track of mine called SMA. I wrote it a few months ago while I was in the studio back in Istanbul, was producing a vocalist friend's album, and I had a lot of downtime, so I was just practicing and I found these chords, and then they kind of came into what they are right now. I've been playing piano for a pretty long time now, but mixing and producing, they're also huge passions for me, so the soundscape and the quality of sound and the effects that are being used while playing live or producing songs are just super important in my opinion. The way I wanted to figure that out in my live playing was first pedals, but pedals, you need to have an extra hand or you need to have a foot available, and my legs were at the sustain pedals and the other pedals, and my hands were already playing the notes, so it was pretty difficult to add something on top of that. I had heard about Dubler a few years ago and I tried it, but it was a little difficult not having the sensitivity measures and the specificity with the control dials that it has now. And checking the new updates, I really figured out that I could have some effects coming and going while I'm doing recordings, while I'm playing live, and it just really intrigued me, especially the filter modulations, the specific effects, having something in for 5 seconds, then maybe it not being there, then being able to bring it back. It was something that really deferred to a lot of the computer software synths that we have. There were a lot of effects and sounds I wanted coming and going through the track, so Dubler was really helpful in that respect. There were 3 main elements that I used Dubler in. It was through the pad, the bass, and the main belly melody that we have there. For the pad, I used filter cutoff as well as the flanger. For bass, I used a little bit of a LFO rate modulation. And for the melody, used filter modulation, flanger, as well as tremolo. There are 2 effects I'm using on my pad sound. One of them is the filter cutoff and the other one is the mix of our flanger. I made the pad sound from Rolly's Equator 2. The interface looks like this. The way we map the cutoff to Dubler is we press Command M. We click on the cutoff setting here. Go to Dubler. I want the filter to be on A, the A sound, so I'm gonna map it to A. Come back to our Ableton screen, press Command M again, and then it's good. What we do for our flanger is again we press Command M, come to our mix setting below here, press it, go to Dubler. I want it to map to E, so we map it like that. Go back to Ableton, Command M. One thing I like to do with Dubler is not assign an effect to one of the vowels, in this case U, because then it almost serves as a way to lower the effects that are mapped to A and E. The min and the max parameters here, they affect the sensitivity we want our effect to come in. So I raise the min from here all the way here because it makes the effect come up more sudden. And what we have to the right is the amount we want the effect. So as you can see, it's at 43, so it's at a third of the max the filter can come to. But we want it to be at a more low parameter, so it's a little less dramatic and musical in the case of the song we're doing right now. For all the effects I decided to use via Dubler, I took my own time to check which parameters worked best, because there's a huge dynamic range that Dubler has,
and finding your own one is a little tricky, but when you find it, you really get a great balance and sound.
When I realized that I could keep the same level of function with my hands and legs while adding the voice part of it with the vowels and control dials, that was a really helpful step for me. Being able to control up to 3 effects at the same time and having them coming and going amongst each other has really been a great experience and has definitely upped my music in a lot of ways.